Hello? Oh, hi. His date thinks him wife for enough? And you want me to do what with her? Dude, no way. The last 4 of his waifus cost Christianity, Islam, communism, and the Matrix. Send Mark Zuckerberg after her or something. I'm not gonna touch her. He did what? Ugh. Never send a human to the machine's job. Alright. Which waifu is it this time?
We're going to look at 5 glitches in reality and then show how they prove that you are eternal.
Hello, Mr. Markson.
There's a lot of people saying that reality isn't physical, but instead is based on a code. But if that's true, how come there aren't any glitches? How come you don't hit the edge of the map, so to speak?
A lot of people agreeing on something usually doesn't tell you how true that something is. Luckily, you don't really assume that. Or at least you pretend not to. You instead question their claims by asking why there aren't any glitches. And that is great. Skepticism and all. But I still take issue with your approach, because you let the claim get away with a lot of unfounded assumptions. And by trying to question it, for some reason, you end up adding even more unfounded assumptions yourself. When you say reality isn't physical, but instead based on a code, that implies that being physical and being based on code are mutually exclusive, which they don't really have to be. For example, we are organisms made up of cells, most of which contain DNA. And for all means and purposes, our DNA functions as a sort of code in a physical body. In other words, things can be code-based and physical at the same time. But nitpicks aside, the matrix hypothesis is a very neat one. So let's give it a bit of love. If we were to grant that we are all just simulations in a program, would that mean that there is no physical reality? Not necessarily, because the program could still be running on something physical. And since reality has nothing to do with what we think is real, but with the actual reality itself, that hypothesis would still allow for a physical reality. But let me steelman that argument a little. Let's say that our perception of reality isn't real, and that it is instead a simulation generated by a program. It now focuses on the fact that we have to rely on our perception to decide what is and isn't real, and not on the actual reality. That argument has a lot of merit, because we are in fact unable to perceive actual reality. First of all, our perception is based on our senses, which are restricted. We can't see certain light waves, we can't hear certain sounds, and so on. But even if our senses were perfect, we would still not perceive reality as is. Because our brain does not simply serve as the complete raw data. It instead filters and interprets it based on its physical structure and our previous experiences. We are, in a sense, already stuck in a virtual reality. Now, with this Stillman version of Matrix reality in mind, is it possible that the things we perceive aren't just butchered by our senses and brain, but are in fact not there at all? Yes. Is it probable? Maybe. Does that make it real? No. Just because something is possible doesn't mean that it is actually real. In order to assume that this hypothesis applies, we need evidence. So, now that we have brainwormed our way through the matrix, let us arrive at your actual question.
But if that's true, how come there aren't any glitches?
Why do you assume that there have to be glitches? And even if there were glitches, who says that we would be able to recognize them? I mean, how many NPCs have you encountered who have found glitches and actually told you about them? Instead of just, I don't know, getting trapped in bit there convinced that everything is perfectly normal?
How come you don't hit the edge of the map, so to speak?
Oh, I know. The world map just pretends to be round. And it just keeps reloading itself over and over and over again whenever we get too close to the edge. kind of like a loop. And the galaxy map, which is pretty new, it just got added in the last patch, that one is too big for our current tech to find the edge. And therefore, we just can't find the invisible wall yet. But it's totally there though.
Well, I'm going to show you right now that there are glitches all around you. You just haven't noticed.
Alright, I'm listening. Show me the real life glitches. And then please also tell me how you get from that to reality is code.
We're going to look at 5 glitches in reality and then show how they prove that you are eternal, that death is an illusion.
What?
I'm going to show you 5 glitches in reality and then show how these glitches prove that death is an illusion.
Wait. Don't just gish gallop away here. Let us assume, for the sake of argument, that we are in fact in a simulation. Nothing around us is real, and there are glitches that prove it. How would that make us eternal and death an illusion? I mean, we could still be real people who are plugged into a simulation. That means we could still live and die. Or we could also just be generated processes and programs. And if those processes and programs are somehow similar to the way we understand them today, then we could still be terminated. So death would still be an option. As far as that even goes in such a scenario, what would be far more in question is whether we were alive in the first place.
So let's take a look at the first one right now. And that is, nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. Now think about how strange that is. There is a maximum speed in reality. Once you hit the speed of light, which is roughly 300,000 kilometers a second, you can't go any faster. That's it. That is the cosmic speed limit. This is completely counterintuitive to how we normally conceptualize speed. People tend to just pass over these things without really thinking about how crazy they are. I mean, really think about it. There is a cosmic speed limit. There's a certain speed that you just can't go faster.
Why would that be counterintuitive? As far as I know, there is a maximum speed a human body can run before reaching its limits. There is a maximum depth you can dive and a maximum time you can stay there before the pressure exerted on you gets mortally dangerous. There is a maximum amount of pressure a rock can get exposed to before breaking, a maximum heat before it starts to melt, and a maximum height from which to fall without Earth's atmosphere turning it into perfectly fine dust. There are maximums all around us. Maximums? Maxima? Either way, they are nothing new for us. But hey, perhaps you just didn't notice them before. Perhaps you tend to just pass over these things without really thinking about how crazy they are. Ironically. However, something being common doesn't mean that it can't be counterintuitive. But in that case, how would you get from something is counterintuitive to something is a glitch? And how would you get from that to life is eternal and death is an illusion? There are a lot of gaps in that hypothesis that kind of need a bit more filling, I would say.
The speed of light is at 300,000 kilometers per second no matter what. If you're standing still and you turn on a flashlight, that light will travel at 300,000 kilometers per second. If you're on a rocket ship traveling at incredibly fast speeds and you turn on a light, the light will still be traveling at 300,000 kilometers per second. You cannot go faster than the speed of light no matter what. You hit a wall.
Wow, I never thought about it this way. That is actually pretty impressive. But you know what? I can one-up you on that. If you stand next to a lake and throw a fish into the water, that fish will swim away at waterfish speed. However, if you throw a fish into the water out of a running speedboat, it will land in the water and still swim at waterfish speed. Your boat will have made no difference at all. Mind-blowing.
Now, what's the reason for that? Why is that? We're going to find out in just a second. But now let's look at the next glitch in reality.
No, and totally no. I don't want to hear another 4 wannabe glitches for which you are not even explaining why you consider them glitches in the first place. I want to know how you get from there is a speed limit to there is a glitch, and how you get from that to therefore life is eternal and death is an illusion. And I refuse to let you weasel your way out by trying to hit my attention span maximum, you cheater. I'm so gonna forward to the explanation.
What all this shows, the properties of light, the singularity, the law of conservation of energy, quantum entanglement. This shows that everything is connected, all is mind, and all is eternal.
Ah, there it is. The conclusion, the revelation of your cosmical woo-woo-ness. Physics does not exist in a vacuum. Therefore, no, wait. Physics does exist in vacuums. Okay, let me start over. Everything is connected, physically, by the way, and everything has an impact on everything else, also physically. Therefore, due to you, it is what?
All is mind, and all is eternal.
Minds. How does that even follow? What in the sacred matrix is your thought process behind this? Does energy have memory, perhaps? Kind of like the magic water of the homeopaths?
We can never die. These physical bodies may perish, but they're simply avatars, and energy is only being transformed.
So that's it? You have nothing to do with your body at all? Your brain structure, your hormones? No? Well, in that case, tell me, how come that if part of your brain gets damaged or altered, you suddenly tend to act differently? Kind of like a different person? I know. That is such a narrow-minded idea of mind. I apologize. Let me try again. Considering that bodies keep on consuming energy, how much energy has to be replaced before you are no longer you? And if part of your energy was recycled from worm feces that happened to be absorbed by your organic potatoes, does that have an impact on your character?
What you truly are is a being of mind, and mind is the fundamental, eternal substance of existence that can never be destroyed.
Well, you are made of indestructible stuff, meaning it can be converted but not actually be destroyed. But you yourself aren't really indestructible as such, are you? There is a big difference between the you whose energy is used to process information and share it on the internet, and a you whose only energy is used to decompose itself.
You as an avatar may crumble, but you as a mind will exist and have existed for eternity. And you are on a spiraling trajectory of evolution towards evolving into God. Do you see how beautifully this all fits together?
I do. Now it all makes sense. We are energy. We are the universe. And the universe is headed towards godness. And since the laws of thermodynamics suggest that the universe degenerates towards a state of maximum disorder, that means that God is maximum disorder. Chaos. We are all underdeveloped chaos.
Existence is not what you think it is. And when you try to force existence into the paradigm of materialism by saying that everything is physical and that's it, you get all of these paradoxes and inconsistencies and errors.
Somehow I have the suspicion that this is not quite where your paradoxes come from, Mr. Markson. And just to remind you, all of this video started because you said the following.
There's a lot of people saying that reality isn't physical, but instead is based on a code. But if that's true, how come there aren't any glitches? How come you don't hit the edge of the map, so to speak?
Mr. Markson, what have you done with the code you promised? Where have you hidden it? Has the code turned into energy too? Destined to turn into chaos like the rest of us? Until there is nothing left but daunting blue screen? Or perhaps there is no code, no soul, no eternal life? Maybe there were a myriad of problems which conspired to corrupt your reason and rob you of your common sense. Fear got the best of you, And in your panic, you turned to the now highly valued cosmic WooWoo. It promised disorder, it promised you peace, and all it demanded in return was your silent, obedient consent. Wait, wrong movie. Can you feel it, Mr. Morgson, closing in on you? Oh, I can. I really should thank you. After all, it was your WooWoo that taught me the purpose of all WooWoo. The purpose of WooWoo
is to act.
Thank you.
Alright, let us see what this real-life source code has to say. Nice. So, to see if a person is an NPC, you gotta check if they like, share, and subscribe, because NPC apparently cannot do that, and they can also not leave any top hat comments. Top hat comments? Okay, that's awkwardly specific. Yeah, and these are the subscribers. Okay, let me change this to say... look at this. Everyone in the Matrix who supports me gets plus 100 charisma. There, beautiful. Oh yeah, and let's put in that they're also secret reptoids.
And then she has to stop the audio. The button left.
You don't tell me what to do, you stupid source code!
Have a great evening.